I'm with you. I think the Yankees have very talented pitchers, but to me that rotation is a little bit thin, a little bit questionable at this point. Cortez has looked good. Rodon was fine in his outing. I mean, they've got a couple of kids that they like, but to me, the Yankees do not have a deep rotation. And obviously you add someone at the top, in their case would be number 2 behind Cole, but I mean, then they're the American League favorite.
It's still going. Of course, we have to start there. What do you see happening the next couple weeks with the guys that are left? And if you want to mix in your thoughts on how Bellinger did too, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think Bellinger did well. I really do. I mean, to get $30 million for each of the first 2 years, I think that's pretty good for a guy who's been kind of up and down. Obviously, he was great last year with the Cubs, but his track record has been a little spotty after I think he was hurt with the shoulder, with that forearm. I don't know if you guys did this when you were playing, but the World Series. So. I think he did well. I'm still wondering about the other guys, though, at this point.
AJ, you're a champ. Yeah, let's get the mic a little closer. It's okay. We do this.
Hold on. Are we on?
Hold on 1 second.
Yeah, we're on, but it's fine. People like this. This is the behind-the-scenes stuff, John.
This is stuff people don't get to see about TV stars like yourself.
This is very relaxed. I didn't know we were on. All right.
We were on.
Let's go.
All right,
I need a light to come on or something.
The lights are on. Look, look up there.
The light is on.
I see the sun on.
So you talked about Bellinger, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and he did well, but he only got 3 years. People were projecting him, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. He still only got 3 years. Is this a good deal for the Cubs or a good deal for Bellinger? Because they also got opt-outs mixed in. So if he doesn't do well, they're stuck paying him $30 next year.
Right.
And if he does well, he opts out after 1 year and could get more.
No, I certainly get it from the Cubs' perspective to go give him the 3 years rather than guaranteed 8 or 9 or whatever people were speculating about. I certainly get it, and I give them credit for holding the line and doing it this way if that's the way they wanted to do it. But as far as Bellinger goes, to be making $30 million, and we got to figure there's a decent chance he's going to opt out after year 1 or 2, that's a pretty good salary. There's only like 20-something guys who are making $30 million. He's obviously an outstanding player overall, but he's had those kind of mixed years at times. So I think he did well. I think the opt-out is huge for players. Look what it did for Carlos Rodon. I mean, so many of these players have used that opt-out and then done that $200 million deal the next year.
So what inning are the Cubs in then? If they made this Cody Bellinger signing, which was going to be most likely was going to happen anyway, earlier in the offseason, Jed Hoyer said, we're only in the 5th inning. What inning are they in now?
Well, I mean, I mean, obviously Chapman is still out there. They're one of the teams connected to Chapman. I kind of think of Bob Melvin, his old A's manager in San Francisco. I kind of think he's going to end up back in San Francisco. To me, Seattle, Toronto, there are still teams that use that need a third baseman. I think it's tougher for him, though. I mean, Bellinger is more versatile, right? He can play center. He can go to the corner. He can play first. Chapman, I mean, in a pinch, he could play short for a game or two, but he's basically a third baseman. So you're going to have to target those 2 or 3 teams that really need a third baseman. If I were to guess today, I'm going to say Giants. They're still talking to these guys. I know they said they don't expect to sign anybody, but I kind of think the Giants are going to sign somebody, whether it's Snell or Chapman or both of them.
All right, so, but when? Because we're almost March 1st here, right? For pitchers, it's more important. Position players can get ready a lot quicker because you can go take a million at bats, take your ground balls. You just got to get on your feet, get moving around. But Snell and Montgomery, the 2 main pitchers out there, it's almost March 1st, right? Like it's almost drop dead before you start missing days and starts in the regular season.
Yeah, I think that's particularly true for Snell because I think Snell is going to look at that Bellinger deal and say, hey, that's pretty good. I'm not getting exactly what I wanted on a long-term deal. I'm willing to do that 3-year deal with an opt-out after 1 year. So if you only got an opt-out after 1 year, you probably need to be in camp pretty soon, right? I mean, you need to be ready to go. To me, Montgomery is going to get that long deal from somebody. They're going to be a team out there, whether it's Texas or Boston, maybe the Mets even. There's going to be a team out there because, I mean, look, he's been consistently good, durable, great in the clutch, really doesn't have a lot of knocks on him. I know there are people saying he doesn't miss bats. I mean, to me, that's a silly criticism. The guy is a very good, productive pitcher and young enough, and he should get a long-term deal. For whatever reason, there's something out there about Snell that I don't quite know that teams don't love as much as I would expect them to. He was the best pitcher in baseball from May 25th on. He had a 1.20 ERA. It was exactly half of the next guy, twice as good as the next guy, which is Kyle Bradish, 2.40. So, I mean, to me, this is a dominant pitcher. Now that DeGrom is sidelined, among starters, he may have the best stuff of anybody left. Is he the best starter? No. Garrett Cole's the best starter. He's dependable. He's great, whatever. But if you split hairs a little bit, I can say Snell might have the best stuff of anybody. But I'm with you. He probably needs to move a little quicker than Montgomery.
Okay, so you mentioned Chapman, you mentioned Snell, you mentioned Montgomery. You mentioned warts on him. Or is the warts for Matt Chapman? He had a great April, and then he struggled from May on. Right. And then with Snell, he's never thrown a complete game. He doesn't go super deep into games. Yeah. Right? Montgomery goes deep into games, pitches in the postseason well. Yeah. He's kind of, he didn't throw 100, but
Who cares? Does anyone care about that?
A lot of front offices
You caught Mark Burley forever.
I know.
He didn't throw 90.
I know, and he could
How
get
good
you.
Was he?
He was awesome.
How would you like that career? I mean, if
I would love that career.
Repeats that career, that is fantastic. And so I don't see any warts on Montgomery. I think that's ticky-tacky. Even Snell, to me, the fact that he's a 6-inning pitcher, I mean, who's a 7-inning pitcher? We got guys here. We're in Philly, right? Wheeler, Nola, Cole, Logan Webb. There's maybe 2 or 3 others that pitch that 8 innings or 7 innings even. I mean, the fact that he's a 6-inning pitcher, how is that a knock? I mean, we just saw a big deal go to Glass now. He's never thrown more than 125 innings.
You're right.
I
don't know.
I think he got this big deal.
You should be an agent.
I told you earlier why he got the big deal, right?
Because he looks good and he has great hair. And he looks good to dodge him.
Very handsome guy. Beautiful hair.
That's why Kratz never got a great deal, because he doesn't have any hair and he doesn't look good in uniform.
Oh! 9-year deal. That's beautiful. 9-year man. No, that's really not true about Brett. It's funny.
I know.
It's funny.
Especially in L.A., especially him in L.A.
Right. He's from L.A., and he's engaging. He's got a great personality. I like Snell. I think he's a quirky guy, but he's a good guy. There's nothing wrong. I don't see the warts there. The fact that he threw only 180 innings, is that a wart? I don't see it. His innings are good, but his stuff is fantastic. So I'm not getting that one. Montgomery, I think, is going to be fine because there really isn't a good wart. He's like Burley, I think. Chapman's the one, I think, at this point that would have an issue because he did hit 240 last year. Now, he was hurt. That certainly took it away from him, right? I mean, he was the best hitter in April, right, in baseball, and obviously was not himself after that. But people are going to look at the recency bias. If there's a recency bias, though, shouldn't Snell be getting like $300-400 million? I mean, he was it was unbelievable.
I agree.
So, John, I want to follow up on Snell. I still think he's a perfect fit for the Yankees. I still think they could use one more upper echelon pitcher. I'm not sure how Rodon's going to look for the regular season. I know people were already freaking out as velo was not as high as it was in bullpen sessions. I'm like, all right, whatever. Let's see. But in general, I'm still worried about their rotation if they think they're winning a World Series this year. What's the deal with the tax? A lot of our fans have asked about it too. So is it true, like if they sign Snell, and I believe this is the same case with the Mets, which have been criticized by some fans, they sign someone like that for 35, it really costs them like 70 plus, right?
Yeah, I mean, technically, if that's the way you're going to look at it. Now, I'm with you. I think the Yankees have very talented pitchers, but to me, that rotation is a little bit thin, a little bit questionable at this point. Cortez has looked good. Rodon was fine in his outing. I mean, they've got a couple of kids that they like, but to me, the Yankees do not have a deep rotation. And obviously, you add someone at the top, in their case, would be number 2 behind Cole. But, I mean, then they're the American League favorite by far. So, I mean, you got to weigh the two things. You get Snell, you're the American League favorite. You've got a great chance to win the World Series, which they haven't done in a while, right? Or against the tax. Now, you could make the case like, well, the tax, you can spread it out around everybody. But the fact is right now they're paying about $10 million in tax because they're about $10 million over, so $11 million in tax. They sign him to a deal worth $30 million for the 1-year deal. That's another $63 million, right? Because a 110% tax on the $30 million. $63 million. So you could look at it like, well, we're paying Snell $63 million. Now, of course, the Yankee revenues are better than anybody, right? Their revenues are over $800 million. They're not telling you exactly what it is, of course, but it's over $800 million. So they can afford to do it. They get him. They may win the World Series. But if you're the owner, it's not that easy to say to yourself, I'm adding $63 million for one player. And it's a player that isn't, we're not talking about Maddox or Randy Johnson. We're talking about a great player, but we're not talking about a Hall of Famer. So it's a tough call for the Yankees. I personally, at this point, the way it was going, the Yankees didn't love the idea of the short-term deal. I'm not sure what they're thinking on the longer deal, but they really don't have a meeting of the minds. This is a situation in need of a breakthrough right now with the Yankees. At this moment, I would say more likely he ends up with somebody else, and I would guess the Giants, but that's just a total guess.
Is this a Boris swing and miss so far this offseason?
Well, right now we've only had he signed about 18 free agents, right? So obviously some of those guys got fantastic deal. The guy came from Korea. Lee got $113 million. I mean, people were predicting $60 million, so that was an excellent deal. You know, obviously Montas got $16 million, who didn't pitch last year. He got a lot of great deals done early, but so far only Bellinger of these big five have signed. So, and I'm throwing J.D. Martinez in there because he was the cleanup hitter for the NL in the All-Star game. Pretty good player, but he's an older DH. So, right now I would say Bellinger. I like that deal. So we'll see what happens with the final three. But I mean, Chapman's not going to probably get what we were thinking he was going to get overall. And to me, I thought Snell would get $200 million. So he's going to get less than what I thought he was going to get. Is that a negative for him? I don't know. Maybe my predictions just aren't very good.
John, that's a great call on Lee, by the way. He went way over my predictions as well, and people forget that name. Yeah, he got a lot more than I thought. So actually, I want to ask you a Giants question. Patrick, one of our fans, asked, he said, I think the Giants offseason makes the least amount of sense to me. They were in on the top flight free agents the last 2 years, right? We all know that, the big names, including Mr. Judge last year. He said, but they can't pull the trigger on what are clear needs like Chapman and Snell. How does that make sense? And also, Farhan Zaidi doubled down recently and essentially said their offseason is over. Now, everyone's hoping that was just a lie and that's public posturing, but he essentially said, hey, if we didn't figure it out in 3.5 months, then we're good.
Yeah, I mean, I still think the Giants are going to do something. Like I said, they're going to get one of these guys, whether it be Chapman or Snell or even Montgomery. But I mean, I would say Chapman is probably the most likely. And to me, that, you know, you can call this a loss for the agent if you want. It's going to be a good deal because this is a really good player who's been great for a long time. He just happened to have an off year at the wrong time. I mean, the platform year matters. And he hit 240, didn't hit 20 home runs, didn't have his typical season. And, you know, I think they're going to get it. Whoever signs him is going to get a good deal. And I on that one, I kind of feel like the Giants are the favorite. Right now, with the Cubs getting Bellinger back, they've got some options at third base. To me, I mean, Chapman would be fantastic there. They got Dansby Swanson, probably the best defensive shortstop in the game. You had Chapman, who's certainly in the top 2 or 3 defensively at third base. I mean, that's a lockdown. This is a big market team. To me, I know they did a great thing getting Bellinger back. To me, they're the clear favorite if they add Chapman as well, but I'm going to guess Giants now because the Giants have really more motivation because the criticisms that you got and we're hearing now about the Giants right now, and they did. I mean, they tried to sign Correa last year. Obviously, they tried to before that, Stanton, Harper, Judge, all these guys, but they did have a deal for Correa that ended up falling through. So, I mean, I think their effort is good, and I do think they're going to end up with one of these two guys. So I'm not going to call their offseason a loser yet, just like I'm not going to comment on Boris and say he's a loser at this point. Still stuff to be done, but if the Giants are a loser, it's just because the Dodgers are a super team. That's really the reason that they're a loser.
All right, there you are, getting some sun with AJ in Clearwater, or as they say up here, Clearwater. Have the Phillies done enough? Have the Phillies done enough, or did they not need to do anything?
You know, I'd like to see them have a closer. I think their team is really good, though. I mean, their rotation is arguably the best in baseball and the most sound. You've got Nola and Wheeler. They've got 2 out of the 5 or 6 pitchers who are really 8-inning pitchers. And obviously Suarez is terrific. I like their rotation a lot, and their lineup is great. So I think they're really good. I mean, I think they would have gotten the World Series last year. I don't know what I was covering it. I don't know what happened. It just kind of switched to Arizona. It was like, were you there? I was dark in that stadium. I couldn't see. I know I'm 63, but I don't think any of the players could see either. Yeah. Castellanos went from the best hitter in the world to a guy who couldn't see the ball.
But you said that, but then they lost 6 and 7 in Philly. Point. So
You're smart. That's
I don't know.
Point.
I don't know. Listen, sometimes, John, you know this. It's just your year, and it was just the Diamondbacks' year. Everything went together, right?
Amazing.
Fought came out of nowhere kind of for him. Merrill Kelly, Zach Gallen, right? Some of the guys in the middle, Moreno came up and was like a revelation.
Carroll.
Yep.
fantastic.
Corbin Carroll's unbelievable.
He's a great player. I mean, the two pitchers at the top they're terrific, right? Gallen and Kelly. They got a solid team, and they've helped themselves this winter. They're one of the teams. So many teams have just like either kept the same payroll or actually gone down. I mean, not everybody's gone down like the Padres or the Red Sox or whomever, but like 1/3 of the team's payrolls have gone down. I give Arizona credit because they have the cheapest seats, right? It's a big market, but their revenues aren't that great because they have the cheapest seats. Their attendance isn't what it could be in Phoenix, and they're giving it a shot. They like the taste that they got, and they want to do it again.
Well, we're about to have Tony Clark on. That's definitely going to be a discussion. Why are teams' payroll going down if revenue is going up, allegedly?
Although, AJ, if John has some spare change, the Diamondbacks did recently threaten the city that they would move if they don't pay for new lights, which apparently costs like $500 million. It wasn't a threat. I don't know if you saw the comments on it. It wasn't a threat, but they're running out of time. If that
also, if you have spare change, the Red Sox would love some too, right?
I don't know what's going on. John, can I finish? Oh, go ahead. I mean, I don't want to interrupt anything when you were going full throttle.
Yeah, I'm more upset than Devers. I don't know what's going on. I'm going to go down to Fort Myers tomorrow. I'm going to ask what the heck's happening here. What have you done to the team? They've been in last place in the last 4 years. It's shocking. I mean,
well, at least they have a ton of pitching prospects on the way, John. I'm joking.
Right, Cosson's good, right? Duran's good. Their prospects are like the main thing you think about now with the Red Sox. That's good. That doesn't sound like the Red Sox to me. I mean, they added Giolito. They're hoping that they get him on the right side, get the things back to 2019 and gets 20 and gets going again. But I mean, come on, they need to do something. I mean, that's a tough division. I don't at this point, how do they compete with the Orioles or the Yankees or even the Blue Jays? I don't see it.
I don't either.
They're tanking.
I don't know. Yeah.
I don't have the money. I'm not going to be able to help. Sorry.
They're tanking. John, I want to finish with this. This was John, I read every single article you've ever put out in the New York Post since you joined, right? And back in CBS days, all that, okay? So here is one of your most underrated articles that was recently put out there that I don't think got enough traction. You revealed that there was actually like a snitch in the New York Mets organization that told on Billy Epler. And got him in trouble with the league, right? You put that story out there. It got some coverage, but first off, who was it? If you can tell us who the name is, who was the snitch? And also, is the league really unaware that there's a phantom IL that's used by almost every team? Because I have confirmation from current and former players, including the dude you're sitting next to, that this happens on a basically daily basis in baseball.
Right. Well, snitch is a harsh word, right? Obviously, he's fixing me. I'm a mess here. I need AJ. I'm going to need him to go around with me. That's a harsh word. Obviously, there was, when you're the GM, you're the boss. Not everyone's going to like you, and whoever thought that he went overboard with this, and I guess the league agreed. I think the league understands that it goes on to some degree. They felt that it went on too much with the Mets. I don't know. I don't have the information to tell you exactly whether it did or didn't, but I mean, it feels a little unusual that that's what he's got busted for was, especially when they stunk, right? I mean, they were 10 games, whatever he did, didn't work, right?
Well, he's also not working this year, and they suspend him for a year when he's not even on a team's payroll, which is also I found interesting. They're like, we're going to suspend you for this year when you're not working.
Right. Well, I mean, he would have been working if he hadn't had this issue. He was going to go back to the Mets. But, yeah, I mean, it works out nicely for him here. He's got a year off, and he's suspended for the year.
Yeah.
He can come back early if he wants. And if enough people say, everybody does this. I mean, I think he basically was honest and said, you got me, I did it, and he assumed that everybody does it. Like, you guys know.
I've been on it.
You've been on the fake. What did you have? What was your fake injury?
Anal fissure.
You're making it up.
No, that's what I wanted to go with. And the Braves wouldn't let me, so they said hamstring.
Hamstring.
Yeah. And I said, no, I want to go with what I want. They said,
anal fissure.
Yeah, John Coppola, he also kind of got in trouble.
He got in trouble, too.
For something else.
Yeah, he did.
He gone.
Yeah, exactly.
Well.
We love this
I don't
stuff.
know. I feel for Billy, but for whatever reason, the league felt there was more there than they normally see.
Well, we'll ask our next guest, Tony Clark, a little bit about that as well. I'm sure he'll have some comments. So, John, great to see you. Enjoy the sunshine. I'm glad that you got to spend some time with AJ. He looks very snazzy with his sunglasses and his hat and the whole
Did you guys
deal,
know that he went to Northwestern, by the way?
I do.
I advertise. My daughter's going too, so we're
awesome.
excited.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
That's a nice quarter zip.
Exactly.
It's like 95 degrees here, and I'm wearing this just to advertise Northwestern.
All right.
So.
I'm going to get you a Northwestern t-shirt, John, but congratulations. My sister went there too. Great spot. But thanks for joining us, John. Good to see you as always.
Always a pleasure. Thanks, Scott.
Hey, everybody. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content.
We're back here every weekday, all year long, so do not miss an episode.
The videos are coming in all day. Here's another video you might enjoy.
Baseball the way it should be covered.